What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into the Queen's Lounge podcast. I am your homegirl, Shay. And of course, I have another dope interview for you today. I'm going to bring this young lady in so she can introduce herself. Ma'am, please let the people know who you are.
Hi, guys. I am Mildred Phoenix. I'm a second grade teacher at Crossroads Charter Schools, and I have just completed my 10th year. Well, at the end of next week, I'll have completed my 10th year of teaching. I got my undergraduate at Northwest Missouri State, and I got my master's at Avila. My undergraduate is in elementary education with the emphasis on deaf studies, and my master's is in reading reading specialist.
That's awesome. Now, you just recently went back to complete your master's, right?
Correct. Yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah. And then Avila is the school you said you went to.
Yep. Avila.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. So teaching is definitely your niche because you've been
Is
doing it for 10 years.
oh, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Okay, so we're gonna get into the question. So my first question would be, you did mention all your credentials. You did mention that you teach the second grade. So what kind of educator would you say you are?
Um, that's kind of hard to label it because I probably guess a word would be all encompassing
Mm-hmm.
because I really focus on the whole child, not just the academic part. And I think it's very important that all aspects of the child is um, spoken to, nurtured to, you know, cared for throughout the educational process because
Mm-hmm.
then they train better, they're eager to learn. And we already know we do better when we want to do something or when we want to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Um, when I was in school at that age, I was excited to go, and it wasn't until I got older where I was like, I don't really feel school. I don't want to go to school, but I know education is important. If I don't go, then I'm gonna have to deal with moms and pops. So let me just go ahead and get up and go ahead and go to school and go from there. Do you think that other kids engaging with kids of the same age or in the same classroom makes it easier for them to pick up the learning habits?
Um, Not necessarily easier. I think they get more opportunities to.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just on how well they pick up on social cues and social behaviors. I think depends on exposure more than
Gotcha.
to just their age group. So exposure to various different types of people, situations, different places, and we learn best through experience. And so if they're only getting that social experience at school, then that's very
Mm-hmm.
limited.
Right.
Even though they spend a lot of time at school, it's still a very limited population of people that they are interacting with on a day-to-day basis. And it's usually the same people that they're interacting with. It's not anyone
Right.
newer. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So my next question is, now when we were growing up, we had to do all the studying by hand, right? Go to the
Right.
library, pick out the books, do your little code,
Uh-huh.
let them stamp it. We've come from a very
Right.
what they would consider dinosaur way of
Right.
doing schoolwork, right? So now
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit more advanced. So teachers have, tablets and iPads and things like that where it
Right.
makes their teaching easier, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. And then a little easier for the students as well. And I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends, and she has three girls, and all of
Mm-hmm.
her girls are in high school. And I said, so ma'am, how do you feel about, the technology that the kids are using in school nowadays? And she said, you know what, I have to be honest, it's something that worries me only because it's so easy for them to just pick it up, tap on it, and bam, it's there. And she said, I feel like they are not getting the essentials out of school. Having to go get a book, having to actually look it up, having to actually dissect the math problem. She said, I feel like it's too easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that while they're going to school, not only are they getting the essentials and the necessities that they need to make them productive adults, but to also make sure that they are doing the work and that it's not so easy. So in your 10-year expertise of being a teacher, do you think that technology is making it simpler for the kids, or is it making it easier for the teachers?
Well, I think when we think about education and the evolution of time, so
Mhm.
technology different, and the way we even access information is different. If you're
Correct.
looking for something nowadays, you would never go to the library and ask for an encyclopedia. You would
Right.
Google, tell me,
Correct.
and
Yes.
Google will find. And so I think in efforts to keep up with the times, technology has been more heavily present in the classroom.
Mhm.
Um, However, I think it's more so just access than easy or simpler. I think it's
Gotcha.
access to information more quickly than we had access to the information. So it would
Mhm.
2 or 4 class periods to go to the library, choose all the books we would need for a research project, and then, gather your materials from there. Now, kids have access to books in a split second. They
They
can look
do.
and have a topic, and there it is. And so I think access the main part of the technology in the classroom. However, I think the way a teacher introduces technology matters a lot. Is it a
Mhm.
tool or is it a replacement? And our
Gotcha.
it's a tool, it's not a replacement. And so if you're not using the tool properly, then I'll give you a different tool. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I The tablet is not your education. What you do
Yeah.
it, with the knowledge that you're getting is your education. And so, and I
Yeah.
to my kids, I can only take you so far. You have to choose to accept what's being taught and to apply that in your everyday life. And we talk about that a lot in second grade to make
Mhm.
it applicable to them. Because again, they don't when we were in school, we were learning how to gain access to information. We were
Correct.
learning how to find the information we're looking for. These kids don't have that question at all. They
Right.
want to know. All they have to do is ask. And I mean, and they can ask in so many various ways, which is how you have toddlers buying things off of the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of how the times have evolved. So we have to do a better job at showing them how this information impacts them, their personality, their character traits, how they treat people, how you the world. That's what education is pushing towards processes. And so when we talk about the big math shifts and
Uh-huh.
how we went from the standard algorithm and all those things. And I remember talking to a parent about it when the shift really just started happening. And I was telling them, you may know that 2 + 2 = 4, but
Right.
can you why? And that's where we are with these kids. Can you tell me why? Why does 2 + 2 = 4? And it's a complicated answer. It's not something that's simple. And so for a scholar to do that complicated mental work, I believe that they get a lot more um, useful tools for
Mhm.
think problem solving and things like that that they can use outside of the classroom with the way that we're pushing education now. So
Yeah. That is a perfect answer. Because I felt the way that she did, and although my son isn't of school age as of yet, I was a little concerned and a little worried that if it's this way now, what is it going to be in 2042? You know what I mean?
right,
That
right.
sounds very far from here, and it is. But as fast as the
It's not
years are going, he'll be in school before we know it. You know what I
right.
mean? And I'm glad that you also pointed out that it's the responsibility of the teacher to use it as a tool and not as a replacement. And I think that's what separates teachers from it just being a job, and teachers
Yep.
that actually care about the students getting the knowledge and the understanding of what it is that they're doing. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what, sis, I agree with you. I really think that it, can
Yeah.
oftentimes blur the lines of whether it's helping or an additional tool to help, or if it's really a substitution for these kids
Correct.
really needing to dig into it and really, get an understanding of what it is that they're doing. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm not that old, but how far technology has come, and then to see how far it's going to go,
Right.
It's a little worrying. I'm not even gonna lie. It's
Oh, it
it's it's
is.
it's a little worrying. Just because I still think that there is a certain amount of importance of things that are gonna just like disappear. You know, the
Correct.
things that I feel like we still need to go get, and the things that we still need to, actually go look and dissect and get a better understanding of it. It's just gonna be so easy to just click. You know what I mean? And do you forget?
Right. And I think I was talking to a fellow colleague, and she was talking about how she feels like the kids who were born in the 80s but raised in the 90s really got the best of both worlds with the nostalgia, but the onset, we were the pioneers of having computers,
Yeah,
classrooms,
very
and
true.
first ones that went from like the little pagers to the flip phone.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And so I think
Yeah.
I think like having an appreciation for both is very important because we understand the nostalgia and the importance of having things on paper, handwriting, and things of those that are reading actual books. In my
Right.
class, you have to have a book in your hand at
Mhm.
least out of the day every day. And
Right.
so we really push both, the best of both worlds. What's the, we talk about the importance of having it in your hand versus on a screen. We talk about
Right.
the and brain breaks and giving yourself, because this phone is so unnatural. It's an unnatural light, it's UV rays, it's all kinds of
Yeah.
things that is being absorbed by us. And so it is our responsibility as adults to make sure that we are being respectful to mental and physical health as well when it comes to iPads and devices and all of that, but also exposing them to, if this iPad died, could you
Right.
do what you needed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in my classroom, if you don't put your iPad in the case at the end of the day, it doesn't get charged. So if it
Mhm.
doesn't get charged, I have all paperwork for the rest of the day. And I have
Right.
printed out. So if it was an article we were going to read online, you have a paper version of it. It was a book we were going to read online, you have a actual book, of it, or whatever the case may be. And so just making sure that they can adapt to
Mhm.
whatever. Are they equipped to use the technology? Yes. But if the technology fails,
Right.
which often fails a lot,
Yeah, it does. It does.
tapped without the technology, could you get access to what you need to get access to? And so I think while we use it primarily as a tool, our students really still do a lot of handwriting, a lot of actual books, and putting sticky notes in books and writing their notes on it. Like we did the
Mhm.
research back in the day, and they have their manila folders, things like that. Like, I think that's important to see the organization of it, but also to have proof of, like, I did this, and be proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes that ownership gets lost when it's on a device or
Uh-huh.
somewhere else. But to have it in your hand and say, I created this, I made this, kids are very proud of themselves when they do that. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's important to make sure that they have a good appreciation for both the
I
technology
agree.
serve you, but also what can I do if this technology isn't here?
Yeah. I think there's a good balance between the both
Yeah,
of them. Knowing how to use it when it's not there, and then also getting it from the
r-
mud, as we would say,
right.
you know.
Internet safety. We go over internet safety all the time with our kids, and about we don't allow them to freely search the web. We have,
Uh-huh.
on the iPads that prevent like YouTube or TikTok, and
Right.
so we try to safeguard them to, this is a tool for educational purposes. So
Right.
you're not ear off, into some. Now kids are smart and they get around
Oh
our
yeah.
safeguard times, and we have to put up new boundaries and figure out
Yeah.
they didn't got through all the time. But it's worth it. It's worth the effort to make sure that I am safeguarding their innocence, their privacy. Kids are so trusting and willing to share information. I just want to make sure that they have an importance of what does privacy mean, even stranger danger on the internet, or
Yeah.
all those other things that go on. And so I mean, like I said, it's a tool and you have to teach them how to use the tool, just like you would teach them how to use the pen. So,
Absolutely. Now, this is a bonus question before I get to my next question. So, being a
okay.
teacher that had to navigate through COVID, right? I want to
hmm
say, and I believe this is true, that parents have a newfound respect for teachers because of them having to do it on their own. That little, it was a big window, but yet a small window of time to get them up, get them prepared, get their notebooks and stuff ready, get them logged on, having to print it out if it wasn't printed, all of that kind of stuff. They had multiple classes. You had to make sure they was good for that. And so after COVID, it's still very much, present, but it's not as big as it was when it first started happening. So going back to school, do you think it was harder or has it been difficult for the kids to get back on a routine? Because they were so used to just, being in the comfort of their own home. So now they have to get back into the swing and routine of things. Has that been difficult for you as a teacher to get them back in the groove?
I think for the class that I have now, and I'm pretty sure it's this class. It's either this class or the class I had last year. They were
Mm-hmm.
it was during kindergarten, and their kindergarten year was cut short, and then
Yeah.
their first grade year, all online, and ended
Uh-huh.
year in a hybrid, half home, half online, 1 week, half home,
Right.
hybrid. And so they really didn't experience a real school setting for 2 years. And or what we would consider a normal school setting for 2 years. And so having them to be in that space was difficult to manage the social interactions that they would have worked out or learned about in kinder or first grade being in person.
Gotcha. Mhm.
And so things like believing the best in someone was very hard for them because they just didn't trust because they didn't know this is what you do in
Yeah.
kindergarten,
Yeah.
things out, but they didn't know in second grade. And so it was hard for them to trust that someone wasn't doing something intentionally mean to them, that
Mhm.
maybe it was accidental. Like the maybe accidental part was not on their radar at all. And you couldn't convince them that it was at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
It took a lot of social emotional learning to really close that gap and for them to at least consider that this person could have done this accidental, give them the opportunity to fix it. And
Right.
so I think that was one of the bigger social emotional things, and just like believing in yourself, because they again hadn't really produced solid grade level work at
Right.
school. And so, and it was a lot harder. It wasn't easy. It took stamina to get have, and even just having the confidence in themselves that I can do this, even if it's hard, was hard to teach as well. Because again, we're at home, and I'm not. Listen, I was a parent. I am a parent of a student that was also at home, and I had to teach.
Yes.
It was wearing two hats, and I know I'm like, I'm struggling. So
Right.
parents of multiples are struggling, but I think that's the other lens that the pandemic opened up was parents of multiple children at home by themselves trying to
Yeah.
all of this. And so I think there was also a newfound respect for teachers for parents in those situations.
Right.
Well, even just like for those jobs that didn't shut down and they had to go,
Right.
what will we do? All those types of things. And I remember talking to my co-teacher and I was like, I have to have a couple of kids come up to school. I just have to have it because there's no other option that I'm going to have to get them online because there's no one there. And so
Right.
to kind of work with my building administrators and other teachers were doing it too in our building, having a few kids come up who either could get on Zoom or wouldn't stay on Zoom. But we were just trying to figure out the best that we could in order to help as many parents as we could as well in the pandemic. And so I think when it comes to coming back, no, it was definitely difficult educational wise, stamina wise, social emotional.
Yeah.
It was hard for kids. And teachers, what I loved about working in our building is that we really had big shifts to support them. We created positions have a social emotional learning coordinator
Oh,
that was
wow.
out of the pandemic because of the great need for it. And so
Yeah.
like we have we are doing things to help close those gaps, and we're seeing the benefits of it. And so I am hopeful that as we move forward, they don't struggle as much as they have been, being in the, even though they've been in the building for 2 years now. It's still, it's true. We all a traumatic event together,
Absolutely.
like trauma. And so
Yeah.
I think overall for everyone, there's a newfound respect on like how much someone can handle life in general, and
Yeah.
giving grace. Because I mean, it was just like, no, I understand. There was no
Yeah.
one was blaming anyone for anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Was parents weren't blaming teachers and teachers weren't blaming parents. You know what I'm saying? I think it was just more so like, what can we do to help each other in this moment?
Right. Right.
Carried on after the pandemic with like even just the amount of parent involvement in school, in my opinion, has increased. And so I don't know. I just think it was uh, beneficial on both ends.
That's awesome. I'm glad to see now that the kids are back in the swing of things. Things seem to be going as normal. The kids seem to be getting back to them normal selves post pandemic. So
Right.
that's really, really good to hear because it was a struggle. And
Oh,
I didn't have a kid then, but I had friends who had children, and they were just like, you know what? Can I just take them to the teacher's house? Because at this point, I
that
can't.
part.
I can't do it. It's just no. So having respect for teachers is definitely
Hmm.
absolutely on the list. Okay, so listen, my next question is, how do you keep it fun for the
Oh,
students in the classroom?
well, I have always been a big advocate of just being yourself, even though, I've had mentor teachers or student teachers in my classroom over the years. My best advice is be yourself. Just be
Hmm.
who you are. If you're sarcastic, be sarcastic. Kids love,
Yeah,
if you are joking, kids love it. If you have a dry sense of humor, be dry and have they
yeah,
who you are. And so I just show up as my best self every day. Sometimes, I'm like dancing and singing and joking around with them. Other times I'm not. And I let them know that it's okay to show up your best self, however that is,
right.
whenever and there are days where I will come in and I'll say, guys, today I'm just kind of really tired and I have not a whole lot of energy for a whole lot of anything. Does it always change the environment? Are they always sympathetic? No, absolutely not. But for the ones who are really listening and picking up on those things, they are worth my effort to being um vulnerable and open to my students about how I'm feeling. I'm not
Right.
feeling, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to get
Yeah.
out. I didn't want
Okay.
to rest this morning, and then
No, for real.
they're saying similar things. My mom woke me up early, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we need a little energizer today because I'm feeling,
Yeah.
and we might do a go noodle or a brain break or something like that. But I think that's what be that's what keeps it fun and exciting in the classroom, because if I can show up as my best self, even when my best self doesn't match what people say I should be, I
Yeah.
feel comfortable. And when they're their best selves, we just have a ball anyway. We laugh and joke and we kid around, and we read in funny voices, we dance around. I ask them about the latest and greatest stuff that's going on. I show interest in what they want, and they want to tell me things. I have a student in my classroom. She draws me a picture and says that she loves me every single day, and
Oh,
I
that's
keep
sweet.
single way. It is on my,
Yeah.
but they want those things. They want to feel like we want them to be there, and we want them to see, and that we love them and care for them. And then they bring the joy, they bring the excitement. And I love my job. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I don't know, I feel like I was born to do this. This is what I've always wanted to do my entire life. And so because it's more than just a job or a career, it's who I
Yes.
am.
Yeah.
it exudes naturally fun. It exudes naturally exciting because I am naturally excited about the information I'm giving or the method that I'm teaching or just
Mm-hmm.
it's that day or I don't know, just different things like that. Just keeps it light and easy. I try my very best not to overcomplicate anything.
Right.
So
Right. And
I'm
then
not
their kids, it's just
yeah,
simple for it's simple for them. You
they
know what I
just want
mean?
there. That's it. You
That's
know.
it. That's it. Have a little conversation with them, and they're good to go. Absolutely
Yep.
good to go. So my next question is, how do you build relationships with your students as well as their parents? Because I know that that's important. The
Yeah.
parents are going to help you, push the students along in their education.
Mm-hmm. Well, one, as a school, we have we do positive phone calls within the first month of school.
Mm-hmm.
They get them in that first week. Positive phone calls. Find something to say positive or highlight about their student. One, because a lot of parents get only hear from the school when something's wrong.
Right.
And have made good efforts to not only reach out when something's wrong, but also reach out when there's things to celebrate. And parents like to hear, no matter how involved or how not involved a parent is, they want to hear that their kid is doing something good, you
Yeah.
know, and they want to be proud of their kids. And so whether it's a email home or a little note on their assignment or whether it's a phone call with the student or without the student, whatever it is, I just try to reach out and let them know that I'm proud of their students just as much as they are proud of their students when building relationships with parents and also letting them know well in advance if I have any concerns or if there's
Yeah.
something that I want your opinion on well in advance before we have to do anything else. They're aware because like I said, I'm a parent as well. So I try to treat my parents how I would want teachers to treat me.
Yeah.
And then building relationships with kids are so easy because they're so open. They will
They
tell you
are. I love
I,
kids. I prefer to deal with them than adults.
exactly. That's why I tell people every time someone asks me how's teaching going, and I'm like, the kids are really fine. It is
Yeah.
not the kids are
Yeah.
not the problem here. And so I think just like listening and hearing and then bringing things up. So if they say, "Oh, I'm super excited about my basketball game tonight," in the morning, "Hey, how did your basketball game go?" "Oh, it was,
Uh-huh.
good. I whatever." Or, "Oh, we lost," or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just want to know that you know something about, you know what I mean, that you care.
Yeah.
Say something or bring something up, or if they get a new haircut, you got to be kind of a little easy with the haircut. So sometimes it's not all that they want the haircut.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, I didn't want this haircut. And I'm like, oh, looks really nice.
Yeah. 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 Kids are hilarious, man. They really are.
Yeah. I say, did you get your haircut? To kind of see how you feel about it.
Right. Right. Kids really
But
have like personality and character at young ages.
yeah,
Like they
yes,
absolutely
they
do.
yeah. So,
I just
and
love
I think
kids.
that you just let them shine and let them be them. I was given a test the other day, a reading test, and I have this student in my class. He is just filled with a plethora of just facts. Doesn't really match, but
Yeah.
just has random facts in his brain. And so we're reading this book about a butterfly, and when I tell you, I got so many insect and bug additional facts
Okay. Okay.
was reading on the reading assessment. And I had to just kind of let him do that.
Yeah. Get it
And
out.
I couldn't, if I would have said, okay, let's keep the extra facts to a minimum, that would have dwindled his excitement to read this book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because he has all these outside connections that he's making to reading this book. And we want kids to make text to world and text to self connections. He may not know what that is, but that's what he
Right.
doing. And I, as an educator, I have to get out of my own way with our constraints of like, oh, you're on an assessment. You can only talk about what's on these pages.
Right, right.
And just kind of let him be free to
Yeah,
share, share what he knows, of course, guide the conversation, but not in a way that he feels like he just can't be himself. And I think that's a bigger part of education. Like, it's every kid's not going to be the same, and we can't expect the behaviors to always match. So we
right,
have a fluid sense of what's acceptable behaviors because kids are different. And if we make a
right,
stamp, if you're not sitting down in your seat and head down, pencil on the paper, then your voice is off and you're quiet, then you're not learning. That's not
right.
true. I have several kids that sing all day long. I mean, that's all they do is they got a little tune in their head and
Okay.
they singing and working and singing and working. And sometimes
Yeah.
like, okay, let's keep the song on the inside.
Right, right.
But either way it goes, I can't tell them. I can't be like, oh, if you're not silent, you're not working. That's because that's not how they are. They need
Yeah.
to be free to do that. And so as long as it's not disrupting anyone else, have at it.
Right, right.
If you need to sit, if you need to lay down, be
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the rule in our class is if it is not disruptive, disrespectful, or hurting someone else,
Have at it.
have at
I love that your
it.
classroom is just so free and free for the kids to be able to be themselves. And I love that because I feel like you'll get the real kid and not a lot of pushback
Yep.
if they can just be who they
Yep.
are in the classroom, but at the same time
Mm-hmm.
getting what they need from the teacher and the co-teacher. So that's awesome. So with that being said, you made mention of not all kids are the same, not all kids learn the same, not all kids grasp the same. So how does your progress work when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to evaluating each student? Because I mean
Mm-hmm.
they're all in the same classroom. They're all getting the same teachings, they're all getting the same, reading the same books, doing the same paperwork, all of that kind of stuff. So how do you, I guess, specifically make it directed towards each kid, but that they're getting it on their own the way that they need to.
Right. And so we do a lot of like pre and post assessments. And so we try
Okay.
to see it is for our writing, the first month of school is really just observing how they write. Do they have
Mhm.
cap or are they writing with their letters chunked together in to make words, or are all their letters spaced out? We're really looking at those writing habits. We're looking at phonics. Are they getting sounds in there? We take a month to really look at those things because the rest of the school year we're working building up whatever the missing skill is. And
Right.
so that's one way we differentiate. So when we do writing conferences. So in
Mhm.
the because I've already looked at this student's previous work, I kind of know where we're going to work on, whether it's putting the letters together, capital lowercase, punctuation, whether it's sounding out CBC words, whatever it is, I'm already ready when they come to the conference. And then we talk about that goal and we make a goal
Okay.
with it. Okay, so today, right now, you're at here. Where would you like to be or 2 weeks or whatever the time is. And so and then kids make their own how far they think they can progress. And then sometimes for those kids who want to do the minimum, I'll say, I think you can go here. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyway, and then same for math. We have the same thing for math, and the same thing for reading. We do reading and then with reading because of the bands are a lot broader in reading. We can group kids in groups. We can base off their reading assessments and things like that, and really hone in skills of that group may need. And the same thing with math. We do our
Okay.
math group that, and so we differentiate in those ways, and then we also have support staff that come up and help, whether it be with social emotional learning, or whether it be for math or reading or and so we have some that will come up and help differentiate student needs as well. And then the last thing we do to differentiate is we have a couple of platforms that we use on the iPads, on the iPads that
Okay.
have targeted. They'll do like a pre. It'll place you somewhere. Just the missing skills need to move to the level, and so we have supports in place to differentiate learning in the classroom.
That's awesome. And that's another thing that shows you how far technology has come to where
Exactly.
it makes it easier on the teacher to be able to be more of an assistance to a
Yep.
child who may need a little bit more of the assistance by, just simply checking an app. Like, boy,
Yeah.
listen,
Yep.
that's
It
crazy.
sends me an email every Monday morning, and I go on there, and it'll say these three kids need these small group lessons, and so I'll print them off, do the small group lesson, and then they go back to their app and see if they have moved forward or not. So
That's awesome. I think
yeah,
that's really, really dope. And I
yeah,
feel like that leaves no child behind because they feel like
yeah,
they're grouped with the rest of the students when it comes to maybe like collective learning. You know what I
yep.
mean? They feel like they're on the same page. So I love that. That's
Mm,
awesome. So this is my last question, but it's a good one though. Okay. So
okay.
I've asked all of my teachers this question. Now, do you think that as an educator that there has been a decline in respect for teachers?
um, I don't know if there's been a decline because I don't know
Hmm.
if there's ever a whole lot of respect for teachers in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think teaching was always a noble profession. People
Yeah.
like, oh, you taught kids, or, you know what I mean? Or like people who got rich and famous are always like that third grade teacher that they never forgot.
Hmm.
Always been noble, but respected. I don't think the profession of education has ever been fully respected for what it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take again rich and famous, they didn't went through a teacher. If you take those teachers away, what would have happened? And
Right.
there's not a lot of weight that's put on that. These kids are shaped and minds are molded by their
Absolutely.
experience, whether it's good or bad. You know,
Absolutely.
shaped and molded their minds, how they see the world, how they process information, how they receive information, things like that. Is being shaped at school, and it's not always just from the teacher, from their peers, from
Yeah.
interaction, grade levels, from other adults in the building. I think that the profession has been downplayed for a very, 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 very long time.
I agree
And
with
I
you.
that the pandemic was probably the first time that people were actually grateful for teachers. And I remember seeing, like TikTok parents at the end of summer vacation can't wait to send their kids back to school, and they're looking at
Yeah.
this and they're like, give the teacher whatever they want, whatever the case, and which is hilarious to me. You know what I'm saying? But I think it
Yeah.
to how they view us as
Right.
their child's keepers. Like, I'm done with them. Now they're your responsibility. And I think
Uh-huh.
have been viewed for a very, 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 very long time. Then the pandemic happened, and they're like, wait,
Yeah.
there's more.
Right.
There's more teaching than it.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, I don't have a sitting job. I don't sit. I'm like, I
Yeah.
my steps go off at the end of the day
Okay. No,
well
really.
over my goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have a sitting job. I'm up, I'm walking around with my kids and I'm engaging with them a lot of the time. And so I get offended when people say that teaching is a babysitting profession. And I'm
And you
just
have
like,
every right to. Yeah.
far from babysitting. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing up with toothbrushes and clean clothes and washing clothes
Yeah.
home and braiding hair in the classroom and going to games and birthday parties and things like that. And I'm like, babysitters don't do that.
Not without getting paid.
Okay. And so I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like there has I'm hopeful that there is going to be a great appreciation of educators and compensation because
Oh
the work
yeah.
they do is so mentally and emotionally draining, whether it's
Yeah.
good drain or a bad drain, it works on, and then that works on our physical body. When I was getting massages, and every time I would get a massage, they would say, "Are you a teacher?"
See, now just from the stress of the body, they already know what your profession is.
Exactly. No, seriously, they're like teachers
Yeah,
in their shoulders and their upper back and things like that. And I'm just like, the field that we're in is not for the money. I don't care what anybody say.
it
It
can't be.
cannot be for the money.
It
We're
can't be.
the teachers that are in this profession and do this profession well are in this profession because we
They
care.
love it.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Love this job, and the money is not it. Like, if I
Yeah.
job based off of money, if they just put the numbers before me, I wouldn't pick mine.
Okay. And you wouldn't be the first person I heard say that.
So
Yeah.
I just feel like I am hopeful that teachers are going to be appreciated in the way that we deserve. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd say that teachers need to be right up there with like lawyers and doctors and
agree,
things like that, if not above them. Because
agree.
I am a firm believer that teachers are a second in command when it comes to parents. You know what I
Yep,
mean? The parents, of course, did everything from birthing to, giving shelter and things like that. But a teacher is just as important because whatever the child learns at home as far as basics, they go into a classroom and learn life. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And learn, those type of things that they'll need
yeah.
additional what the parents are teaching to help them thrive in life. And so
It
you
has,
guys are definitely underappreciated. You guys are definitely underpaid for sure. And it has to be a job that is that you guys love. It has
yeah,
to be a job that you guys want to do. Because
right,
if there was any other factors that came into play, it would be a no-go for me.
right.
It really would be a no go for me. And I agree with you. I think that I do believe that there has been a decline. And I only say decline because when we were in school, we were taught at home respect.
Right.
You know what I mean? We were taught you respect your elders, you respect your adults, you respect those who have rule over you. You respect those that are older than you. That included your teachers. And so when
Yeah,
I got to school, it was, the respect of my teachers. Whatever I was asked, whatever I was told, all of that.
yeah. That was
Definitely. And
that
then
was
plus
it.
I was scared of my mom and daddy.
Yep, yep. But I think, like, when we were raised, it was any adult. It didn't matter who the adult was. You
Exactly.
never dare say half of the stuff that these kids are saying to an adult nowadays. Like,
No,
not that ought
really.
not have came in my brain that I'm about to open my mouth and say something like this
Come on.
ever. And so
Yes.
when we talk about the respect from the child level, I think that's a
Yeah.
respect massive why. Even
Yeah.
stores. We were sitting at a graduation the other day, and there were some teenagers behind me. Now you see these little gray hairs up here, right? Okay, yeah, I ain't grandma, but I got little. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so I'm sitting in front of these teenagers, and when I say they were just talking up and down about everybody who walked across the stage, everybody's name that they called, everything that they saw. I mean, cussing and just doing
Oh
all kinds
wow.
of kids, these gray hairs on top of my head. And I'm like, I would have never. I would have never
Absolutely not.
wanted any adult to know that I was speaking that kind of way. And
Okay.
these kids are not afraid. They were not raised with a level of respect of, like, what I say with my friends is not what I would say with my mama
Exactly. Or any other adult.
or any adult or any other
Yeah.
in any other. I remember when I was in middle school and I got caught with a slam book that me and my best friend had, and
Uh-oh.
hey, my lips was like burning for days. Do you hear me? I got popped so
Oh
hard.
my gosh.
And that was written words. Written words. You hear me?
Right.
Not
Okay.
even
She
words
didn't
that
even hear you say them.
my point exactly. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Not getting popped nowadays. They not,
Listen.
you saying they ain't getting that, like, oh, I shouldn't say this.
Uh-huh.
And if you're not gonna pop them, at least address it. And no one's even,
Exactly.
and it's cute at one point, and then it goes from cute real fast to out
Yeah.
of control. And so
Yeah.
I don't play that. I never did play that. Even with my son as a little baby, my mama always,
Yeah.
baby in timeout. I said, yeah, because he was talking back.
Okay.
He said he was talking back. I said, watch, I'm telling you, he gonna put them sounds together one day. You gonna be mad.
Okay. And you gonna
I
understand exactly what he's saying. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And sure enough, she said, oh, you didn't got you up into something. I
Okay.
told you he been over there practicing all them months.
Right.
So
Right.
no, but in my classroom, with grace, but also very stern on you're not gonna talk to me any kind of way.
I know
Listen,
that's right.
not okay with you speaking to me this way. I know that some people are, but I am not. And if you want me to respect what you're asking me to do, you have to respect what I'm asking you to do.
Absolutely.
You can address me by Mrs. Phoenix. Do not call me teacher and do not tap me. I'm asking you because I'm going to say your name the way
Right.
you know what I'm saying. And so
Yeah.
that connection with them that I'm going to be firm in that.
I know that's right.
I'm going to remind you every time it happens. I'm
Yep.
consistent and this is the expectation. It doesn't really matter if no one else is enforcing that. They know when it comes to me, it's
Absolutely.
going to be enforced. Now, will we get the best bang for our buck if home and school was on the same page?
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If kids knew that home and school was a partnership, listen, we went to
Uh-huh.
school with the people that we went to church with was teachers.
Yeah.
So you wasn't coming up, you wasn't skating on the weekend and
Right.
because they'll pull your parents over right after Sunday service before
Sure
Sunday.
would.
You know what happened in
And then you
class?
better hope they ain't got your parents' number. Cause they ain't
That
even
part.
waiting till they see them. They
No,
calling.
they calling right
Okay.
there. And so or pulling up.
Yep. Yep. Or
And
pulling up.
and I think the difference nowadays is that parents don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you, pulling up in their business. They don't want you. It takes a village. I tell people
It
all that
really
all the
does.
time.
It really, really does.
And I appreciate my village, and I could call on my village. When Taylor was little, he would get in trouble. I would make him call everybody in our village and tell
Yeah.
them everybody
Yeah.
on the phone. Well, yes, and okay, and we hang up. Call
Yep.
you
Call the
next.
next one. Yep.
Or the next one. you
Yep.
know, and because I think they need to know that they have people around them that care. But I don't know. It's somewhere that it shifted where things
It
became
did a big shift.
private and
Yeah.
don't want you in our business and we don't,
Don't say nothing to my kid.
right, don't say nothing to
Yeah.
me. And people just stopped trusting each other, trusting that it was done out of love. And I think it's
Right.
people experience trauma. Some things
Yep.
were there were some mean and cruel teachers,
It
baby, out.
sure was.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
sure
And
was.
I blame students that went through that and became parents that don't trust teachers. You can't blame them for that.
Absolutely not. It was
But
some cruel teachers out here.
exactly. But I think as a professional in this business of education, I have to also walk in a way that I'm not that person at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm
Right.
sure that there are people out there, but I don't know what a parent's background is coming from. So I have to just show up as my best authentic self and be real and honest and open so they can be honest and open with me so I know the best way to help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if
Right.
they help, some parents are like, I'm good. I talk to you at parent teacher conferences. If it ain't
Right.
that, you know what I'm saying? I know he good.
Yeah.
And there are some parents like that, and I can't blame them. That's the capacity that they have to show up for their kid. It doesn't
Yeah.
they're any less loved because of this other parent. Parents show up in the best way that they can. And,
Right.
the partnership between schools, I think is growing since COVID. I really do.
Good.
I
That's
really
real
do.
good.
And I think that we're on that positive shift that like, listen, you had your babies at home and I was dropping stuff off at your door, rulers and glue sticks,
Right.
markers, and you know what I'm saying, and care packages and all kinds of things like that gave us the opportunity to show how much we care about them
Yeah.
and their family.
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
that. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the partnership continues because, like I said, when I have parents that are just like, all right, whatever Miss Phoenix say at school, that's what we
That's
doing.
what goes. Yep.
You know? And so if there was a parent who was like, I don't know how to fix this. And I'm like, give them chores at
Yep.
home. Give
Yep.
them chores. They will have a sense of ownership and responsibility quickly with chores.
Yes. Yes. The
So,
younger the better.
the younger the better. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. And so she said she implemented, this was a few years ago. She said she implemented those chores and she said she has never seen that kid get off the couch, brush his teeth, and go to bed because he was so tired at night. Like, fighting him to put his pajamas on and get in bed.
Yeah.
Want 10 more minutes on the game. He want this.
Yeah.
She said after dinner, he put those dishes away. He swept and mopped the floor. Then he took
Oh,
out and or switched over, did something else with the laundry or whatever the case may be. She said he sat on the couch and was going to ask to play the game. And before she knew it, he
he
was
was
saying,
asleep.
I'm going to bed.
That's how you do it. And there's nothing wrong
Right.
with kids having a little bit of responsibility.
Right. And the shifts that she made at home heavily impacted him in the classroom. He became
Hmm.
a very responsible student, in class because he ain't had time to play around when he got home.
Right. Right. He got stuff to do when he gets
He
to the
had
crib.
get home and he had his little bit of playtime and he was tired, ready to go to bed. But
Yeah.
all the benefits of that extra sleep at home, that consistency, being able to trust the environment, being able to put something into the environment and care about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He said he started saying, Mom, can you rinse your plate off before you put it in the sink? So
So
he
now he
went
telling moms,
crazy.
I need you to
Right,
help me out a little bit.
right. That's what I'm
Help me
saying.
out.
And so understanding what it takes gives kids they don't know what's happening to them. We just see the benefits of it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And he did so much better in school.
That's awesome.
I think, and he actually just graduated. I might be dating myself a little bit, but he actually
Oh.
I was taught fourth grade for 5 years. This is when I was in fourth grade. He actually just graduated last week from the high school.
Oh my gosh.
How's he doing? She was like, he actually graduated with honors, and I don't know how that happened.
I know that's right. That's from the teacher and the mom coming together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And him doing what he needed to do in both areas. And look at the young man now.
Yep, he
Graduated with honors. So that's awesome.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
really, really awesome. So listen, this is my last question for real this
Mhm.
time. As an educator, what advice would you give another educator? Just to give them some encouraging words to keep them pushing as they continue to educate the next generation. What
Yeah,
words of wisdom can you give them?
my word for every teacher is consistency. Whatever you choose to do, be consistent in it. Show up your best authentic self. Kids will love you just for that. And yeah, be consistent. I mean, don't it really doesn't matter what you do. Just be consistent in whatever it is that you're doing.
Absolutely. Listen, Miss Phoenix, it has been a pleasure
Yes.
for you coming on the lounge today and just hanging out with me, having an open and very very personal to you because you are an educator and have been for 10 years, but just being open and honest about your role as a teacher, the importance of being a teacher, and what we as parents can do to make it easier on you all.
Mhm.
I do hope that as the years go on, there will be a much more respect. We don't want another pandemic to happen for
Right.
parents in the neighborhood and the community to be more appreciative of educators. And so,
Agree.
I'm hoping as the years go on that there will be a little bit more respect and appreciation for you all. Hope y'all get a pay raise, a pay increase.
Yes.
Okay.
Food
Listen, we need y'all to be securing the
like
bag
this.
real quick. No, for real.
For real.
Need y'all to be securing the bag and all that.
Oh.
No, for real. But thank you so much. This will not be the first or last time I invite you on the show. Is there anything else you want to say before I let you go?
I just want to say thank you so much for highlighting teachers. We always
Absolutely.
appreciate who are getting the word out there and just like celebrating us. It always feels good because I do feel like it's a teachers are unsung heroes on the day.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you definitely for highlighting us. It means
You
a
are
lot.
so welcome. It is so appreciated on my end that you guys are just doing what you love to do.
Yeah.
It takes a strong person to deal with kids.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when they're at that age where they're talkative, they can't sit still, they don't want to sit down.
Yep.
You guys have a very rewarding job.
Yes.
You absolutely do. So listen, if you are not, you need to be following me on Facebook.com. You can also find me wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and take a listen to me. You can also check out this new interview with Miss Mildred Phoenix. All right. That will definitely be on all platforms. Ma'am, thank you once again for joining me, and I will be in contact soon.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. See ya.